Welcome to Bandwagon fans. I'm Jeff,
Jason here.
and tonight we are joined by our friend
Waylon.
And tonight we are going to be counting down our top, actually all 18 Marvel Cinematic Universe movies. All right, so now we're into our top 10, and putting this list together, I'm actually kind of surprised at where this next movie landed. And I'm going with the one that started it all. This is 2008's original Jon Favreau directed Iron Man.
Oh, I thought you were going to talk about Roger Corman's Fantastic Four.
No.
That truly started it off.
Yeah. So Iron Man, this is what started the MCU. It was Marvel's their huge gamble on themselves. Everybody laughed about it. A B character, big budget. Nobody thought it was going to work, and they killed it.
The guy from Swingers directing of all things.
Yeah, the guy from Swingers directing and who the hell would cast Robert Downey Jr. in a big budget blockbuster?
Hey, all I can say is when I saw PCU in '94, I knew the guy that played Gunner was going to eventually be a great director.
So thoughts on Iron Man?
Iron Man, well, I just remember the first time I saw the suit. I remember thinking that was the first time when it really struck me that, oh my God, we're going to be seeing the Marvel Universe come to life.
Yeah.
That was the best, and it's still one of the best superhero costumes realized on the big screen.
That's a good point. Like, you go back to the X-Men movies, and it was so cool to see the X-Men movies, but they shied away from the suits. Mm-hmm. Spider-Man looked really good in the Sam Raimi movies, but like Green Goblin, the villains would look awful.
Yeah.
But we gotta say here, if they would have stuck to the whole original Iron Man look like they did with a lot of heroes to this day, don't think it would have translated well on the big screen. Hello! I'm just gonna roll up my iron. It's form-fitting, you know.
So one of the things I've been doing lately is going back and watching like the 1966 cartoons.
Oh, that's great.
And reading like the original run of comics, and it's just so funny. The whole Iron Man is Tony Stark's bodyguard. Like, come on, man.
Yeah, they put that to bed right away.
That lasted years.
No, I mean in the movie.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, they made sure they didn't even end the first movie without being like, hey, well, I'm on it. Come on.
Yeah,
I'm going to put these glasses on. See if you can tell the difference.
Yeah. The movie ends with Tony Stark announcing, I am Iron Man, busting into the Iron Man song. And they just, every single moment in that movie worked.
And Jeff Bridges,
Well, again, one of the most underrated villains in the MCU.
Yeah. I absolutely have to agree. He just came off as so cold-blooded in that movie.
Yeah, he did.
Ruthless. And, I didn't get a lot of the criticism. I thought, Ironmonger, who cares? But that's as good a performance.
And on the level it was because he was practically a second father, though.
Yeah.
So it was very, on that level.
Yeah, I think he definitely helped that movie big time.
Gwyneth Paltrow's performance was great. Mm-hmm. Jon Favreau's performance was good. Just everything in Iron Man clicked. And all we can do at this point is say thank you, because 10 years later, we're about to get Infinity War. And everything else we've had came from Iron Man's success.
Even the beginning of Iron Man was great. Out in the desert there with the whole hostage
with the Jericho and
with him making the first suit and everything, and them like looking on the camera, and it was all good from beginning to end. I mean, exactly, it's like they took this character that wasn't selling, but I mean, when was the last time an Iron Man issue sold like over 1,000 copies, right? At that time. I mean, people were saying, Iron Man, well, I guess they've given up. I guess the time has come. Yeah, because you figure, at this time, people, let me tell you, all right, when these movies weren't made yet, Superman and Batman were still considered like cash cows, and Marvel, they had X-Men, Spider-Man, and nothing else. So, as far as money-making franchises went. So, it's amazing Iron Man even got greenlit. It's amazing a guy like Jon Favreau was given the nod. But the thing is, they underestimated him like they underestimated the movie. he turned out to be a great director and did a great
Had
job.
a lot of
on
passion
big
for the
budget.
project.
So number 9 on our list. For me, this was a movie. Well, it's Captain America: The First Avenger.
Sure.
Now, for me, I saw this movie a little bit later. Had a hard time getting into it, but then once I started getting into other movies, went back, and this one just kept getting better and better. I really started appreciating just what a monumental task they had doing a story of this character, and just how well they did it. So number 9 movie for me. Jason?
Loved it. Looking forward to this for, months before it came out. Liked the fact that it took place in the 40s. Liked that it was the throwback movie. That's when I kind of got into Captain America with those Marvel Masterwork reprints. All those stories from the 40s, the timely comic issues, if you will. That mid-60s kind of clanky animated series of Marvel cartoons that came out with the theme song that everybody knows by heart. And also just the fact that Red
When
Skull...
Captain America throws his mighty shield.
Right, we all know it, right? I mean, not the funniest one of all of them, but the most memorable. And Captain America always had that Red Skull dynamic with the two of them. I always liked Red Skull.
Yeah,
he was always been in my top 5 villains, and Hugo Weaving did a great acting job. I mean, it's still, I want to say Hugo Weaving's performance as Red Skull might be my favorite still. I liked it of all the villain performances in the Marvel cinema.
Really?
Yeah, I mean, I really did like it. Maybe it's just because I'm so partial to the character, and again.
You don't have to cry about
it. My other favorite villains haven't showed up yet in all of this. With 18 movies in, we still haven't seen this version of, this universe's version of the Green Goblin or Doctor Doom for obvious reasons. Those are my top 2. I mean, but I like Red Skull. I like the 40s. I like Captain America.
So you're big on primary colors.
Yeah, primary colors.
All right, Green Goblin. Okay, anyways. I don't even know where that joke came from. That's just dumb. Anyways, Waylon?
I'm like you. I liked this movie okay. I saw it in the theater. I think Jason and I went to go see it. Wasn't a big Captain America fan, but again, this is one of those movies when you go back and watch it, it just gets better with each repeat viewing, and in light of all the films that have happened since. Yeah, definitely.
So much in it. You had the Howling Commandos, Bucky Barnes, Agent Carter, Red Skull, Howard Stark, the origin of Captain America, and it's one of the best origin stories that the MCU has told. This movie could have gone south a dozen different ways, but they absolutely nailed it.
Turning point for the character, big time. Yeah.
Helped introducing the audience to the character as a human being.
Yeah.
Before he transformed.
And really, really hammered home the moral compass, the character that would define not just him, but in contrast to Iron Man and Tony Stark, really defined over half of the MCU, that dynamic. Can't say enough about this movie, but I will say the whole Captain America trilogy for me is the best trilogy in film.
That's...
I'll put it over Lord of the Rings, over Star Wars.
I mean, I was so into this movie that I even followed the Agent Carter show, and I know a lot of people didn't even do that.
I don't know where I would rank it in movies in general, but that is a completely respectable choice.
Yeah, we were talking about this earlier, and you pointed out this is like one of the rare series of movies where every single one was better than the one before it.
Yeah. I can't think of any other.
They just kept getting better. Yeah, definitely not Return of the Jedi,
I mean, name another trilogy where the third is better than the second and the second is better than the first.
Yeah. Well, the first was really good.
I said this was the movie, you had the movies before this was the movie that really made me look forward to the next one.
Yeah.
This is what kicked that whole off the MCU, if you will. The movies that came before this, I was like, all right, well, whatever. If they make another one, they do. I wonder which character they're going to choose next. But this movie now I want to see more.
Yeah.
Now I want to see Avengers. Now I want to see everything they can do with this.
So now moving on to our next movie, and this is going to be the 8th best MCU movie according to me, and we'll see if you guys agree or not. And for this, I think a lot of people would put this much higher on their list. But number 8 for me is the first Guardians of the Galaxy. Would you?
I think to date it's probably the biggest surprise.
Yeah.
Because this is.
Well, before we get into the movie, where would you?
Where would I rank Guardians 1? I would probably rank Guardians 1 5.
Like 5
on my list.
You know, probably 5 or 6. Yeah, pretty high.
I remember going to the theater to see another movie and seeing the display. And this is before I realized I really appreciated how good the MCU was. And I'm seeing the tree and the raccoon, and I'm thinking, oh, they just jumped the shark.
Mm-hmm.
Well, you know what I thought the first time the whole idea, and I saw the concept, and I saw the stills, and I saw what they were doing with it. I thought Roger Corman, but I'm a fan of that. What I thought was like Battle Beyond the Stars, where you just have this cast of misfits, and if they do it well, if there's enough comedy, enough action, and they did it well. They did the formula the way I wanted to see it. But my first reaction was, it is going to be the campiest superhero movie you've ever seen in your life.
It was,
and was it kind of campy? It was, yeah, but good camp, right?
I think 90% of America that was paying attention was like, well, Marvel had a good run.
Yeah, right.
But,
well, I think what you said the minute they see the talking tree and the raccoon.
Yeah.
Right?
And Dave Bautista. You mean that big wrestling dude?
I totally took Bautista seriously, ladies and gentlemen. But totally.
The internet was on fire, just proclaiming this movie dead on arrival. Yeah. I remember everywhere you looked, just nobody had it.
Hey, another note on Dave Bautista, since I'm the wrestling fan here, that movie saved him. Because when he made that WWE comeback, we all know he was Blue-tista, and that wasn't good for anybody.
So, this movie was hilarious. It was action-packed. It was different than almost anything, just about anything we had seen before. It was like Flash Gordon made well, mixed with Star Wars.
Flash Gordon was made very well. I take exception.
It was not made well.
One of the greatest movies of all time, ladies and gentlemen.
But it wasn't made well. That's one of the reasons it's so fun to watch.
Oh, it was made.
But Guardians. You said you have it at number 5.
Yeah.
Why for you was it like a top 5?
Because I think being a science fiction fan from the 80s, it had everything I needed.
Yeah.
It had an 80s sci-fi formula.
There was a check. If there's
very
a
familiar for me.
Yeah, if there's a checklist, this hit everything.
Yeah, very familiar for me. So it was just like it was like a continuation of those great science fiction classics from the 80s, right? It was just kind of on par, with all of those movies. So it was very familiar, and maybe that was it. I just enjoyed it like that, just because it reminded me of all of that.
For me, I think one of the reasons I like this movie so much is I had so few preconceived notions of what a Guardians of the Galaxy movie should be. I wasn't terribly familiar with this modern lineup. I knew the 70s comic.
Me and you were kind of like, we were never fans of the book. We knew Guardians of the Galaxy through like Marvel Universe indexes and stuff. Just kind of who the character was in general, but not.
I knew who Rocket Raccoon was.
I never heard of this. Never.
Yeah. But again, it was just like a listing in a Marvel
I knew Gamora through Thanos, the Infinity Gauntlet, and all that.
Even at the back of the comic where you have the order form to order other comics.
Yeah.
That's where you knew, that's how I knew, about Power Man and Iron Fist and Moon Knight. I never saw or heard anything about Guardians of the Galaxy. This was completely out of the blue for me.
But then again, that probably helps because you didn't have any hang-ups or preconceived notions of what you expected from the movie, so you just went in and enjoyed it.
When the movie was announced, though, I was worried the next one we were going to get was the New Warriors.
I expected a dumpster
Crasher.
fire. Yeah, I expected a dumpster fire, but this movie worked out really well. The only reason for me it's number 8 is because the next 7 movies we're going to talk about are just 7 of my favorite movies of all time. It's not Guardians of the Galaxy 1 is a phenomenal movie. Completely out of left field success, and there's just 7 movies that are better. Final thoughts on Guardians?
Howard the Duck. Where's my Howard the Duck movie? Please. And if I were a Marvel character, I'd be the Collector.
Yeah, and Cosmo. Cosmo.
I'd be Cosmo too?
No, I'm saying we were talking earlier about the Cosmo Howard the Duck movie that Marvel needs to make.
Desperately.
Moving on.
With Gwenpool. Put her in it.
With who?
You're not
Gwenpool.
familiar with Gwenpool.
Gwen Stacy Deadpool.
It's one of the many Gwen Stacy incarnations.
Yeah. All right. So moving on to lucky number 7, and this one is one of the most important movies, and this would be the first Avengers.
All right, so right out of the gate, why didn't they just make this alien race the Kree or the Skrulls, you think?
Well, they couldn't do the Skrulls.
They didn't have the rights.
Yeah, they didn't have the rights. Okay, was that it? Yeah.
They might. It's
That's right,
murky.
Fantastic Four and all that.
They had the rights to the Skrulls.
Did they?
But they don't have the rights to certain characters like the Super Skrull.
Ah, okay, right on.
I don't remember what the race was, but yeah, it could have been
Chitauri.
Chitauri, yeah.
So all right, regardless, Avengers. This was the movie for geeks and nerds and anybody that liked comics, anybody that grew up loving toys in the 80s. That first scene, the camera going around, the 6 Avengers formed up was like, what's it called? A geekgasm? Nerdgasm?
Sure.
Just like, and just
that was the scene in the trailer that made you like really fucking want to see this movie like fast.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And just the huevos to say, yeah, we're gonna have a movie with Hulk and a dude with a bow and arrow, and we're gonna make it make sense, and you're gonna love it, and you're gonna give us all your money for the rest of your life, and yes.
Well, you know what?
Take it.
The thing is comic fans know that they did try to kill Hawkeye once, and for some reason or another, once the deed was done, like when they killed Jason Todd Robin, people were in an uproar. For no reason whatsoever, other than the fact that it's like, hey, we were so accustomed to seeing this character in this scenario with the Avengers and all of that. How can you kill him off? He's such an important character. But, you know, he was never like a character that was ever really talked well or ever included in people's discussions of popular characters. But I know for a fact, man, people want their Hawkeye in their Avenger movies and their Avenger anything. If for some reason when you talk Avengers, when you talk about them getting together as a team, Hawkeye becomes like number 2, 3. He's important, right?
Yeah.
It's just, you know, it's one of those things. Hawkeye, just as far as I can remember back, he's Avengers.
Yeah.
Hawkeye's the Avenger. Whereas like all the other guys, they have their separate titles.
Well, he kind of can't go solo. He would get his ass.
Well, that's exactly what I'm talking about. But what I mean is he goes all the way back to the second incarnation. To like issue 17, I think.
Yeah.
When it was, you know, Captain America took over. So I gotta be honest with you, man, when I think Avengers, because, you know, I grew up West Coast Avengers, he was the leader of that for a little time. I think Captain America number 1, I think Hawkeye number 2.
Yeah,
when I think Avengers.
Yeah.
You know, so yeah.
One of the standout things from the Avengers is how Joss Whedon was able to give every character their moment. Black Widow has the scene at the beginning when she's
her introduction,
in her interrogation. Yeah, and you're like, man, she had that scene. Thor and Hulk fight.
Oh, also the scene when she has to go get Hulk.
Yeah,
that's great.
Yeah,
you know, that's great. Yeah.
So Thor and Hulk fight in the hangar, or Thor and Iron Man fight. There's a great video on YouTube where they talk about how the characters in the movie get defined by their action. So there's the scene where the Iron Man, Thor, and Captain America are all fighting.
Right.
And you get to see that Iron Man's shield is strong enough to repel Thor's hammer. And Thor is strong enough to crush Iron Man's armor. And Iron Man's blast is enough to blast the
rock, paper, scissors, Avenger style.
But you get to see all his relationships, and it was just brilliant. And then at the end fight, Hulk solves his problems the way Hulk does. Iron Man, Tony Stark, he solves problems analytically.
Hulk must
Captain
have
America leads. Hawkeye, he's got his bow and arrow. You know. But Like,
Well, also
He's
too,
very good with his bone.
and they kept up a lot of like what was established in the comic book for years, like the competitive banter with Thor and Hulk.
Yeah.
Them going back and forth, and how they always try to one up each other. You know.
And of course the big punchline when they're just standing next to each other and Hulk goes.
The sucker punch.
It just hits him. Also, special note that little scene where he bashes Loki back and forth as a puny god. That's
I gotta tell you, that scene is a crowd pleaser even with people who don't like comics. My stepdad loves that scene, busts up laughing funny. Every time he sees it.
At that point, it's almost like a Looney Tune.
Oh, yeah. I think that scene made a lot of Hulk fans, just that scene alone.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Who hasn't wanted to do that to somebody at some point in their life? So Avengers, Joss Whedon's, it was just a phenomenal movie. Hit on every cylinder. Got all the characters their due time. Nick Fury, we really got to see why he was who what made him a badass. The one thing everybody knocks on the Avengers was Hawkeye's 3-pronged arrow into the circuit board of the helicarrier.
Well, you know what?
He made crazier shots than that in the comics all the time.
All the time.
Sometimes when you're watching these movies, you just have to accept the stupid shit.
I still want that purple outfit.
Yeah. So, Avengers.
Oh, also too, let's not, take away from Agent Coulson, man. We really got attached to him in this movie.
Yeah.
We thought he died, and didn't that kind of catch you off guard that you were kind of like, oh.
Yeah, I wish he had stayed dead.
Oh,
he should have stayed dead.
Well, the first season of S.H.I.E.L.D. wasn't bad.
Anyways, moving on. Number 6 on our list, and this is a movie that just came out yesterday. This is 2018's Black Panther. Jason and I went and saw it last night. Waylon here has not seen it yet, so we're not going to talk too much about the movie. Other than it was phenomenal. It was way different than any other Marvel movie, and it might for me creep up the list as I watch it a couple more times. I already have it at number 6, but it could go up the list. Jason?
I think for what people try to say that Doctor Strange or the Guardians movies had such great visuals, this is number 1 for visuals for me.
Yeah.
This is a very beautiful movie.
There's some,
it's just the color schemes, just the way, the lighting, and with the exception of one scene, with the lighting, it was just all around, just well, I want to say executed, well conceived.
I don't remember her name, but the cinematographer for this might be getting an Oscar this year for was it Mudbound? I got to look up her names. I really want to start paying attention to her work. But yeah, you're absolutely right. Just an absolutely gorgeous movie. Yeah. The trailers had me a little nervous. Same with Thor Ragnarok, where I thought it might be too colorful. But after seeing the movies, it worked, and I'm like, you know what? This is what I expect from now on in a Marvel comic book movie. Yeah. They all better be this bright and colorful. Yeah. And again, we're not going to get into spoilers because Waylon hasn't seen it yet.
Thank you.
But
charisma.
Out of all the 18...
Can we say charisma? All the characters?
Every actor came to play.
You wanted to see every person on screen.
Everybody came to win in this.
Andy Serkis' Claw, the actor that played Eric Killmonger escapes me.
Michael B. Jordan?
Thank you.
Yeah.
They were all good.
My prediction is Shuri is going to be the next Iron Man. I think it's going to head that. I think that's going to head that direction, and I am totally on board with that.
Yeah, definitely.
I want to see some of those secondary characters get their own movies.
Well, you know what? I think that's probably where they might be headed, and I'm okay with it.
Yeah,
definitely. Like I said, you wouldn't mind seeing anybody in this movie, in another movie. Quite frankly, they all were great.
Just a really great movie. I'm not going to go too much more into it, other than it was Black Panther and it was phenomenal.